Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're back with some more Rainbow Six Siege, of course, and since our last update, there's been an absolutely mammoth change to the meta, and a few operators stand out with this one. In this video, we're also going to speak on the iconic MP5, because there's just a few things about the weapon that I think are essential, and how it's being used in the meta today, I don't think it's seeing the full potential, and so yeah, we're getting into it. Also, the next huge shift in gaming is less than a month away, and there have been some announcements for both Rainbow Six Siege, as well as some other things to expect moving forward, and so this one is stuffed, guys, so subscribe with those notifications and let's jump into this. This video is sponsored by Ridge. The Ridge wallet is the most modern wallet that's built to last and keep your most personal items safe and secure. Each wallet is RFID protected, so no one can access your personal information, and when you purchase one, it is guaranteed for life, and so this one will stand the test of time. Right now, if you guys head over to ridge.com/zen, you'll get 10% off when you use code ZEN at checkout, and you can choose from a bunch of different colors and styles, like this absolutely gorgeous stonewashed titanium, or the ridge.com exclusive forged carbon fiber, and many more. Ridge also carries the essentials, like the reliable summit knife that I enjoy personally. And so guys, head over to ridge.com/zen to find out more. Remember to use code ZEN for 10% off, and thanks to them for supporting the channel. Alright, so Year 5 Season 3.3 is live for everyone in Rainbow Six Siege, and it's made some game-changing updates to a few of the operators. Now, since experiencing everything here, there are really three main changes that I think have made the biggest impact, but also a minor buff that is yet to be fully considered. So the first is Frost. For those of you who haven't tried it yet, Frost now has the ITA-12S secondary shotgun, and this is really the first time Frost has seen any kind of big change for Rainbow Six Siege outside of swapping around her secondary gadgets. Along with the deployable shield, I think this actually synergizes well with her because there's a new strat that's kind of popped up as a result. Now that Frost can open up the sight and make rotations, one trick I've seen recently is people making vaultable holes and placing a welcome mat just behind it, which is more of a creative approach to using her gadget. Now, of course, to some degree, this has always been an option, and you could kindly ask a teammate to prep up the rotation, but giving this power to Frost natively means that she's in full control of exactly how things get set up, and I think it's a bit slept on here with this patch. But now that Frost does have this breaching potential, I think there's just more reason to choose her, and also a bit more roam capability with the operator. The update to Glaz is next up, and yeah, just being totally honest, I just don't see too much more of him. It's still early, and so more so than anything, I think people are choosing him to check out the buff, but in practice, it's still not enough. Now, I've made this point many times before, but Glaz absolutely needs an automatic weapon, especially now that ops like Warden and Wamai are part of the meta. I think the devs are still very shy to buffing him to the point where he was when he was super overpowered, but during that period, there was just nothing to counter him. Jaeger countered the smoke, but if you brought an Ash and burned out the ADS with flashbangs, Glaz was basically open to do what he did best and challenge the enemy to a gunfight only he could see through. Now though, there's Wamai to reposition the smoke grenades in places that don't benefit Glaz. There's of course Warden to go one-on-one with him in the event there is a smoke duel, and there's also the fact that Glaz himself has frag grenades, which are incredibly popular and make the choice of playstyle that much more difficult. But one thing has always been true for Glaz, and it's the fact that he has always been made to kill the enemy. He's the most raw form of a fragger that is currently available in Rainbow Six Siege, and so in that right, he does need to maintain his lethality. The SMG-11 is a weapon I think would be basically the highest tier buff for him that'd make him far more viable, but if that goes too far, then at the very least, I'd like to see a C75 auto pistol for him. If the upcoming buff to Warden is true, and he does actually receive the Alda, then Glaz will absolutely need to be buffed to help counteract this, because they're really the only two that can see through smoke, and so this patch is a step in the right direction for Glaz, and he might be a bit more consistent, but it is a small step altogether. Next up here, I wanted to finally open up about the MP5, because you may not have noticed, but over time, this has been one of the most changed weapons in history for Rainbow Six Siege, and in Shadow Legacy, it's been a target for sight options almost more than any other weapon. Now, as we're all aware, Oryx and Melusi have swapped primaries. Oryx gets the T5, and Melusi gets the MP5, and it's a change that I think makes a lot of sense, but more so for Oryx. Oryx desperately needed a stronger SMG, because the man is a brute. He's made to be up close and personal, he's one of the most aggressive operators, and the MP5 is basically the exact opposite of that. They ended up giving his MP5 an angled grip to help make the weapon more snappy and quick, but the damage output just wasn't high enough to make a big difference, and so the swap to the T5 just had to be made. Now though, it's in Melusi's hands, and even though she has the Banshee, and it's a very powerful gadget, the MP5 feels really underwhelming on her as well, and look, maybe some disagree, but I just don't think it's a consistent weapon for a roamer. Prior to even Oryx being in the game, the MP5 was the foundation of the two most prominent anchors in Rainbow Six Siege, with both Doc and Rook. They both have it, they both had ACOG, and it was an amazing weapon to get comfortable with in real and headshots. headshots. The recoil is balanced, which makes it super manageable, and personally, I don't think there's a better weapon with an ACOG. The MP5 really dominates that niche. But after giving it to Oryx, now Melusi, and removing the ACOG from Doc, personally, it's made it one of my least favorite options on defense, and a weapon that just isn't reliable with getting those headshots. One thing to consider though is that Melusi did get somewhat of a small buff here, because they also transferred over the angled grip to the MP5 for her, which could make quick gunfights more consistent. Now, since Year 5 Season 3, I think Doc has seen a substantial decrease in popularity. Rook to some degree as well, but I'm just not seeing Doc nearly as much, and the only change was removing the 2.5 ACOG from the MP5. So I say all this to say that if you're not holding an angle on sight and you don't have at least a 2.0 scope on the MP5, I just think there's better alternatives. I think it's a good change overall for Melusi, but only because of how strong her Banshee is. But particularly with Doc, the nerf has definitely made a difference. And yeah, that's my rant. Next up, it has now been confirmed that Rainbow Six Siege is another game being added to Xbox Game Pass, and this is the next big step for getting more players involved. So Game Pass has been an absolute smash hit for Team Xbox because honestly, it's a great value. For around $10 a month, you get access to hundreds of titles, and the thing is, most of them are actually worth it. They're not just throwaway bargain bin games that didn't perform well. Destiny 2, Halo the Master Chief Collection, and now Rainbow Six Siege are all incredible franchises that you'll have full access to if you decide to sign up, and you get the full experience. Nothing is gated away. The best part for a game like Siege is that Game Pass is already being used by over 15 million gamers, and so now every one of them will see that the game has been added to the library, and they can simply download it and give it a try. Personally, I think this is going to be a huge benefit to anyone looking to try Rainbow Six Siege, and Game Pass is already a great value, and so it's basically a win-win. I think with this announcement, it's only a matter of time before we begin to have the free-to-play discussion, and with that, literally everyone will have access to Rainbow Six Siege. Also, Siege will have a free upgrade path over to Xbox Series X with a bunch of improvements, including 4K resolution and 120 frames per second, and Game Pass will carry over with those upgrades as well. Now, speaking of next gen, the PlayStation 5 broke the internet to the tune of over 11 million views when they finally revealed the system's next generation UI. You've seen it, I've seen it, so let's talk about it. So one key piece of feedback is that it does resemble the PS4 interface, but there are some key differences. The first is the new home screen, and it is very beautiful. Every game and app has its own hub, and is where you'll be able to seamlessly check for new content, go over trophies, and learn more about the experience. Now, while you're enjoying playing a game, you'll have access to the control center, which is essentially a menu that you can access by pressing the PlayStation button on the controller, and it'll bring up a quick access menu. A really interesting feature here are what's called the cards, brand new for PS5, and they do things like check the progress of your objectives in game, and even search for help with them right in the control center, and you can even watch the help with picture-in-picture right next to your game. Now, we all know that consoles don't just stop at gaming. A lot of us also use them as media devices as well. And recently, Sony announced all of the media apps that will launch with the PS5. So here they are. PS5 will launch with Disney+, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, and Netflix, but they've also struck a deal with Apple, and for the first time in a game console, the Apple TV app will be made available, including Apple TV Plus content. The media remote is a great accessory for those of you wanting to get the most out of it, and so yeah. To wrap up the video, Ubisoft have announced Ubisoft Connect. So essentially, this is the new Uplay and desktop app for all Ubisoft games moving forward, and it'll launch on October 29th. It'll be available on every platform you can play Ubisoft's library on, next-gen consoles included, and you'll be able to connect with any gamer no matter where they are. Now, over on PC, the desktop app is going to be getting a bit of a facelift and a new overlay, with Watch Dogs Legion leading the charge. And they mentioned that Rainbow Six Siege will be added in an update shortly after launch. For those of you worried about all of your progress so far with Uplay, you'll be happy to know that all of your account information and achievements will move over with Ubisoft Connect, and so there really is nothing to miss here. I think it's been a long time coming that Ubisoft updated Uplay, and especially the desktop app for their games, and this upgrade that'll enable full connectivity across all platforms, it's a big win and a modern take. But that's our video today, guys. If you did enjoy it, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Big things are on the way here, but until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's been Zen. Hey, I'm out.